Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat. I'm your co host, Karen Scott Green,
And I'm Kat Hardrick.
and
Woo.
we are today addressing it's just the two chicks today.
Yep.
So, we're addressing a topic that has sparked controversy in the last few days and discussion
hmm
um, regarding calling for the pardon of Derek Chauvin. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. And
The
Derek Chauvin
murderer.
is the former Minneapolis police officer convicted in the murder of George Floyd. Um, Notably,
hmm
hmm, Elon Musk and other conservative pundits, like Ben Shapiro, have advocated for this position for him to be released. And so we'll talk about that today and what those implications are and why the Black community needs to not fall for the okey doke and why this is a red herring. And in my opinion,
Yep.
why it's just something to get us riled up. Because as we know, the 92 and the 86, I believe it is, have been
Really?
sitting out minding our business,
hmm
sipping our tea, and building. So that's what we're going to talk about. So, the reason why I say that it's a red herring is that Derek Chauvin was convicted on both state and federal charges for the murder of George Floyd back in 2018, 2020 is when he actually went to trial.
hmm
So, because that was during COVID and when all of that happening. And as tragic as that was, it ignited global condemnation, right? The Black Lives Matter movement really erupted during that time, um, speaking out against police brutality and injustice
hmm
against Black and Brown persons. So, Derek Chauvin, who's a former police officer, is currently serving concurrent sentences 22 and a half years for the state charges
Mm,
and 20 years for the federal civil rights violations. So that's
mm,
why he's got federal charges because of civil rights violations. So it's important to note that while they're asking that person in the White House to pardon him, the only thing that person in the White House has any ability to erase are
hmm
the federal charges. So Derek Chauvin still has to do his 22 and a half years on his state charges. So the only
hmm
person who can make his state charges go away is the governor. And guess who's the governor of Minnesota?
Let me ask, who's the governor of Minnesota?
Um, he just ran with Sister Girl to be the vice president. Didn't win,
hmm
but that part. He's the current
So,
governor, Tim
hmm
Walz.
hmm
So it's pretty safe to say that ain't
he'll
happening.
be he'll be
Derek
serving his
Chauvin,
sentence.
he will be doing his state time at least.
hmm
And
hmm
the so my take on this as to why Black people need to not get alarmed and get out there
hmm
in the streets and protest is because it's a red herring. Siobhan is still going to have to do his time. And we haven't been out there in the streets for the last however many months with all of these executive orders. And so we need to
hmm
stay put. This is not
hmm
this is not our fight right here. There's bigger things for us to,
Focus.
to focus
hmm
on.
hmm
And so they're also talking about pulling up Black Lives Plaza in DC. And basically the mayor was like, "Okay, you want to do that? Okay,
Go
cool.
ahead. Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
we understand. We see the bigger picture. And we
Right.
know and we understand that as a community, as a collective across this country, that
Mm-hmm.
Black folks need to spend this time building up our economic base, supporting Black businesses,
Yes.
making sure that making sure that we've got money in the bank,
Mm-hmm.
grow your vegetables,
Yeah. And if you don't know how, seek out that black farmer.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we need to be making sure that we are good.
Yeah. And I would like to add, like what you're
Go ahead.
saying, is to make sure that we're not baited in to this because historically, we're
Mm-hmm.
very emotional and we're spontaneous. So when one of us are hurt, then all of us are hurt and we react. And a
Yes.
lot of times that reaction, people don't understand how riots happen. How can you tear up your neighborhood? Well, when you continue to oppress a group of people, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to explode. And so what this is like what you say, and I agree, don't allow this to trigger you because instantly it will make you feel, I know for me, it makes me feel angry to think that this person will be freed after publicly assassinating our brother, Mr. George Floyd, in front of for the world to see. And that was a part of the reason why I ran for
Mm-hmm.
office. So it's very moving to me because that was like the second time in my life I cried for something like this. Like I know every mother, every human being was just in tears when we saw this murder happen before our eyes by the people who sworn to protect us.
Yeah.
So we don't want to channel that anger to hurt or riot or even take to the streets because we also know that there are still people, in my opinion, who will utilize this opportunity to continue to hurt us, put us in jail, or give a reason to shoot unarmed Black men and women. So I would like to say that, of course, let me make sure I say this before we get emails and text messages. We know that there are good people behind the badge, period. So I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people who abuse authority. I'm talking about people who abuse authority, period. So if you're not a person that's abusing your authority, then I'm not talking about
Then
you.
it doesn't apply to you.
Correct.
Then it doesn't apply.
Correct.
I
So
wanted to give a quote. You're
please do.
talking about rioting.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther King said 53 years ago that a riot is the language of the unheard.
Hello.
So when people feel like they have no voice, they
Mm-hmm.
have that they have, that no one is going to listen to what they have to say, that they have
Mm-hmm.
been taken advantage of,
Mm-hmm.
riots have happened. And I don't think we are in a day and age where right now that there's anything to riot about. This
Mm-hmm.
administration is going to do some wackadoodle bull BS, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Then they
And,
have done started already. Day
and
one.
they started that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to keep our eye on the prize. And the prize is our economic empowerment.
Right.
So we need to go back to the days of Black Wall Streets.
Yep.
And so we've got Black communities. Let's support Black businesses. There's restaurants. There are, if you got dry cleaners, if you've got a bakery, if you got a grocery store, if you have Black businesses in your vicinity, in your community,
Mm-hmm.
support them. Circulate that dollar with Black businesses.
Yep.
And because those businesses, they live in your community.
And
And go ahead.
and those dollars will stay in your community because it helps your community attract more
Yeah.
businesses, right? and then it keeps the whole the ecosystem from attracting businesses, attracting other leadership that comes in that community that will help build out that community. So when we let our neighborhoods go down because mom and pop grocery store couldn't sustain it because we didn't go there, we drove an hour away when it was the mom and pop next door, then they go out of business, and then you're mad when a bigger company comes in and then they redesign your whole community
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't show up when we needed to show up. So, in my opinion, this is a wake up call. All of us, like you said, you already know that the numbers of people who voted the right way and knew the assignment. Now, this is just to me a kick. Did you say earlier like slashes and now it's a gut punch? Did you, was you the one telling me that? Like these are like little, you know how you get like a
Yeah,
safety,
that they're like little
that
cuts.
metaphor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're little cuts. So all of these things are little cuts that he's doing, that the far right is doing. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a gaping wound. These are not life-threatening injuries that we are sustaining. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
they are cuts and they hurt, right?
Right.
And we'll tend to them, but they're not life-threatening. We need
Mm-hmm.
to jump into action when it's life-threatening. So right
Correct.
now, stack your dollars,
Yeah.
save your money, get your debt
Mm-hmm.
paid off, purchase when you do have to shop, be intentional about where you're spending your money. If you
Mm-hmm.
cannot spend your money with Black owned businesses, then spend your money with folks who employ Black folks and who also believe in promoting Black folks. I'm not just talking about having
Mm-hmm.
Black folks at your cash register. I'm talking about having
Mm-mm.
Black folks in decision making positions.
Correct. Which is
And
what DEI was for. But go ahead.
and so Target and Walmart still don't get it. So Target and Walmart have suffered some economic losses since folks have been boycotting them.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, they've come out and said, oh, this is evidence of an economic downturn. No, boo boo. This is evidence
Mm-hmm.
that we're not messing with you. This is
Nobody's.
evidence that we're keeping our money in our pocket when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to you. And we're driving past your stores to go other places. I'll give you an example. There's some vitamins, not actually, it's not a vitamin, it's a probiotic that I take that I've been
Uh-huh.
taking for 2 months now. And um, Walmart carries this probiotic that I
Mm-hmm.
need, that I've been taking. And I started in January. And so because I'm not dealing with Walmart, there's a Walmart 5 minutes from my
Everywhere.
house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because I'm not dealing with Walmart, Amazon also has these
Mm-hmm.
probiotics. I went to the manufacturer and found where they sell them and I can buy them directly from the manufacturer. Guess what? I'm paying a little bit more,
Yep.
but I am not supporting Walmart or Amazon with this
Yep.
purchase.
Yep.
And I just
And
went ahead and signed up for a monthly subscription. I got 15% off on the vitamin, but
facts, facts, and that's all you gotta do. You gotta do the legwork.
yeah.
And that's what the show is about. Channeling your energy not into the bait, but into the movement. So pick a lane, find out what your skill set is, and help the movement. Get involved, start learning about the laws so that when they bait you, like how my sister broke it down,
Yes.
you can do something federally, but the dude still got to be in there statewide. How many people actually knew that? I mean, let's just be honest. How many people knew that? A lot of people may not even know that because your emotions are going to jump in the way. So we want you to step back, think. We're smart. That's why a lot of people intimidate
Mm,
us. We are intelligent. So
yep.
don't let that emotion come in because that's instant. Everybody can do that. Everybody can say four-letter words. Everybody can do all of that. But not everybody can stop and think and then take actionable steps that make a difference. So that's what we want today. Take actionable steps, think. Sister girl, my girl said, save. Let's create generational wealth. When is the
Yep.
last time everybody sat down in your household at your kitchen table and said, what do we need to do to generate wealth? How can we live a, a quality of life on a smaller budget?
Yes.
How can we reduce our spending? And then when you're able to start doing that, then for me, step two would be, how can I redirect my dollars? There's a website, sis. Can you pull it up? It's called Goods. I can't look. It's on my phone. It's called Goods Unite Us. And that website, thanks to my homegirl Turbo, uh, we talk about this website all the time. And it's a website that shows, and I don't know how accurate it is, how updated it is, but it is a website
I
that,
think I have this app.
yeah, it's an app.
Mm.
And you can type in any business. And what this organization tries to do is to let you know where they support politically. Are they a PAC donor, political action committees? Or are they neutral? Do they not participate in it at all? Which is the ultimate
Yes.
goal, in my opinion. The ultimate goal is to have companies stay out of politics with their dollars. And I know people say, oh, with their business, they have they can vote. That's the consensus. Businesses can vote and they vote with their dollars. So just think about it. When you're giving billions of dollars to politicians, what do you think that means? Why do you think the other person is able to sit in there and make, I'm not gonna do it, the racist hand gesture for our brothers and sisters with the Holocaust? How do you think he's able to do that? He contributed billions of dollars to the
Have a seat
newly
at the table.
correct. And this is not policy. This is not how we have a democracy.
Yep.
You're supposed to take care of the least of these. The Bible says it, our Constitution says it, even the Statue of Liberty. And yet we have people who are in leadership who are concerned about profit over people. And this
Hmm.
website will show you where these businesses
Yep.
land with their business dollars. Now, this is separate than the CEOs and the people who steal a lot of money. They
This
still get
is
to donate.
this is where the company itself has donated in their name. For instance, I
Yeah.
have this one company up, and I'm not going to say their name, but anybody who's looking at it can read the name of the company. I just put in
Mhm.
this one company's name, and when they have contributed, they've of when they give to campaigns, they've given to 81%. So out of every dollar that they give,
Mhm.
81 cents of every dollar goes to a Republican
Mhm.
candidate.
Yep.
19 cents out of every dollar that they give goes to a Democrat. So these
Correct.
are the things to know. So if you are going to a store and you're giving them your hard-earned money and you don't agree with, I mean, it works both ways, right? But if you
Correct.
don't agree with how they're spending the money that they're using as profits, and also, if you are an investor, if
Yep.
you own stock in this companies, you can
Mhm.
also use this site, gooduniteus.com, to see how they're donating, and if this is a company that you align with, and
Mhm.
if you are someone who invests
Mhm.
based upon your conscious,
Mhm.
then
Right.
then this is also a tool for you. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen.
Yep.
um but
Yeah.
this is important to know if these
Mhm.
things are important to you.
Right, exactly. And these are tools that everyday people can use and just stay up
Absolutely.
to date of it. But this is just one tool. There are a ton of them out there.
Hmm.
And that's just a suggestion. But each and every person, please do your homework. Look it up. Do your research. This is one
Yep.
organization that tries to stay on top of it all the time. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of research. And it may be a lag, just like we have census report that's a
Hmm.
year later, whatnot. But you need to look that up and just be a conscious consumer and show the power not only with your vote but with your dollar. Those two things are very important, your vote and your dollar. And if you pay attention, you follow the money, you'll follow a person's heart. And when you start seeing where you also can go to open source, I think that's
Mhm.
another one. Open source, open records, open source. That's where you can see the dollars that's who's being contributed to campaigns. So you can look at every candidate and you can see
And see where
where
their money comes from.
and where their money is coming from.
Yeah.
So dark money is an issue. You know, when you see all these people donating to companies, that's why you have elected officials that say their campaign was ran by the people, where they've had like $5 donations and they wind up getting millions of dollars because the everyday citizen that, you know, and it's no disrespect to people that have money. Like you have money,
Mhm.
that's a blessing. I'm just saying when you use it to call the shots, and therefore the everyday people are suffering because there are more rich people than there are, well, there are more poor people than
More
there are
people
rich
than our rich
people.
people.
Right.
The rich people just got more money.
They got more money
So
and more influence, and that's the
more
problem.
influence. That's the
That's the
problem.
problem.
Because it takes away from one person, one vote, right?
One
When
person.
you can have a billionaire
Mm-hmm.
help you buy a campaign, help you buy an election.
Right.
But I'm
And
not
they
that
in the Oval Office like clowning.
but this discussion is not about them.
Oh yeah,
This,
right. Yeah.
you
Stay
know,
focused.
so
Stay.
we need to stay focused because this
Yep.
is about us
That's
and
right.
what we as a community need to do. So we've already talked about supporting black owned businesses, and some other
Mm-hmm.
things that we need to do is once you got your debts paid off and you started saving some money, hopefully you could do both of them at the same time. But when you start
Amen.
saving some money, invest in land. God ain't making no more land, so
Mm-hmm.
invest in real estate where you
Mm-hmm.
can. It may mean going out a little bit further from the city center, um, but invest in real estate, invest in land. Go
Mm-hmm.
in with some other family members, go in with some other people that you trust
Yep.
that have the same, that are like minded and have a good business acumen.
Mm-hmm.
Start an LLC, start buying some land, start
Mm-hmm.
buying a real estate. These are, and so that they can be income producing. Buy some land so that you
Yep.
can create farmland. These are just some things we can do. And entrepreneurship, cooperative economics, ka-
Mm-hmm.
qua- I cannot think of the Swahili word, kujuchakalia, one of the principles of
Mm. Mm-hmm.
one of the principles of Kwanzaa,
Mm-hmm.
cooperative economics. So in starting businesses, what we as a community may need to do is start pulling together, creating co-ops where people can come and borrow money to start. It doesn't have to be small. I mean, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be large,
Big.
but
Mm-hmm.
give people a couple, a few people come together, bundle their money together, maybe 10 people come together with $1,000 each to give somebody $10,000 to start a business, or 50 people come together with $500, whatever
Yep.
that may look like. But these are the kind of things that we need to do. Back in the days, we had insurance companies, and part of that insurance pool,
Uh-huh.
the people would pay in their premiums, and then those insurance companies would then like loan out money to people. So those were like
Mhm.
banks,
Uh-huh.
um, at a time when our people could not go to banks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And let
those are some of the things that we could do.
and let me add, let me
Mhm.
say the elephant in the room. Let's debunk the myth we can't work together.
Because that's not
Please,
true.
let's not subscribe to that. And I know when somebody hear what you say, sis, somebody gonna say, "Girl, child, please, can't nobody work with them people. We ain't
That's
working
not
with black
true.
folks." Yeah, we're not doing that because here's an example of a collaborative effort. I don't have access to my computer to pull it up, sis. But the black families that came together and bought land, and it's the farmland. They're like several families. There are several families that collectively came together and they bought tons of land. I don't know the acreage, hundreds or 50, I have no idea.
Mhm.
But that is a true example of what you just said. Get together with some folks, like-minded people, and they came together and they have land now that their families are on, and they
So,
are working to cultivate that land,
mhm,
build and grow their own food, and do the whole nine. So it is possible. We have to stop. We have to change our prison. And here's our prison up here, our mind. Our mind is our prison. And if we continue
mm,
to repeat the programming that's out there in the media, this is why Karen and I are so adamant about what we put out on this podcast, because we want to make sure that we're elevating and uplifting and inspiring people. We are in control of what goes on in here. So stop giving people free real estate in your brain that's not
absolutely,
serving you. You know, we
absolutely.
choose it and work hard at that. You know, it may be some ups and downs, but we can do it.
And so on that note, it was 19 families
Mm,
back in 2020 who got together and they bought um nearly 100
yes.
acres near Toomsboro, Georgia, to create a self-sustaining new black town. They wanted to call it Freedom, Georgia. And I have a clip here from
Yeah.
11 Alive. Let me
That's
see if I can
amazing.
play it.
Yeah, that, I think that's where I saw it. And I remember one of the parents was like, they had the soil in their hand and they was talking about how they wanted their own child to be able to have their own land. I love it. Yep.
Let's
Yeah. I may not remember nothing, but I know I seen it somewhere.
A unique approach to bring change after months of nationwide protests surrounding racial injustice. Two women are making a big investment to create economic mobility in the Black community. Natisha Lance shows us how.
Around the country, voices of a growing movement could not be silenced after the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery.
Just kind of sparked something inside of us.
Renee Walters was among the crowd shouting for change. Now she's turning her protest into investment.
We've done the Facebook activism, the protesting, everything. That's not working for us. So it's time for us to action, action, action.
She teamed up with her friend Ashley and 17 other families to buy more than 96 acres near Toomsboro, Georgia. That's about 2 hours outside of Atlanta.
This is our answer to breaking generational curses.
Their inspiration was Black Wall Street, a self-sustaining Black community in Tulsa, Oklahoma back in the 1920s. The Friends wanted to create a place to build generational wealth that can be a safe haven for other Black families.
We're planning on recycling our Black dollar between the 19 families that are a part of our organization. That's what really Black Wall Street was about that local economy, that hyper local economy.
The group of families, now called the Georgia Freedom Initiative, have a lot of ideas for the land that used to be a lumber farm, but they plan to take their time to create the refuge and change they want to see.
We can't wait for anyone to do anything for us, to come save us. It starts with us.
That's
The
right.
Brookings Institute.
I love that.
Facts. I'm
I
telling you,
love it.
perfect example. So take it out of your head, people. We can do it. We can do it.
Yes.
We definitely can
They
do it.
they saw a need and they said, "Hey, this is not working for us. We need to do something
Mhm.
different." They came together, they started pooling that money and buying land. It doesn't need to be 19 acres. And it doesn't have to necessarily be that you're purchasing farmland. It could be coming together and buying an apartment building, coming together to buy a grocery store.
Mhm.
Whatever feels right for you. What
Correct.
we want to get people in the mindset of is creating economic opportunity for yourselves and for
Correct.
your community.
Correct. And whether
Yeah.
it's land ownership, whether it's entrepreneurship, whatever that is, we just want you to start thinking about it. Just
Yeah.
start thinking about it, having that conversation, and then seeing what avenue is best for you, and then go for it. Do that research, create a plan, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And
There
let's
you
just do
go.
it. You know, get
Yeah.
support. There are like-minded individuals, and just do a think tank.
All around you. And so
So,
and on that same vein, we need to
mhm,
be looking at our economic we need to be looking at economic empowerment. We also need to be looking at education and building our knowledge base.
mhm,
So parents, Get your kids into STEM. If your school doesn't have a STEM club, if your community
Mhm.
doesn't have a STEM club, create one. Go
Yep.
to your church, go to your mosque, go to your temple, whatever, where, go to your
Your place of
community.
worship.
And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or go to some place in your community. If there's a community center, if there's a park, a recreation center, boys and girls club, see about starting a STEM club for kids in your community and
Mm-hmm.
bring in people who already have that knowledge base. Someone who may be a doctor, someone who may be a computer science person, someone who's good in math, maybe a math teacher. Bring those
Mm-hmm.
folks in so that we can pass this knowledge down. And we also need to be having classes on financial literacy for our young people and some of our adults as well. But
Mm-hmm.
these are programs that we need to be doing, and we need to be doing them after school or on weekends. The same way that Jewish people have Hebrew schools, right? We could
Mm-hmm.
be having schools in our community, and Asian people have afternoon programs and
Mm-hmm.
weekend Saturday schools for their kids for enrichment. We could do the same thing for ours, but with a different focus. We can focus on the STEM and then also focus on things like financial literacy and
Mm-hmm.
teaching the principles of,
And,
of community. Yes, ma'am.
and African American history.
That
Because
out.
here's the
Oh,
thing,
yes,
like
yes,
everything
yes.
we, this is my personal opinion. When we, as Black people, people from the diaspora, we have come so far.
Hmm.
So not to discard any of that, but at some point, we have to stop trying to make people want us. This is how. So we are human beings. I'm a child of God. I am a human being. I am a child of God. I have common sense and I understand that I live in a world where human beings have their own soft skills. I could teach a
Mm,
person math, I could teach a person how to read, you could teach a person how to climb a skyscraper, all of that. You can't teach a person how to love if they don't want to
if
love
they
you.
don't
You
have
can't
it.
teach a person how to respect you if they don't want to respect you. You can't teach a person integrity. So these are things that the person can be exposed to it, but if they don't want to give that to you, I can't make you. So
Mm-mm.
instead of me continuing to fight and fight and fight for the seat at the table or building my chair and bringing it and all this other stuff, I'd rather just utilize my resources, my time, my talent, and my treasures right in my own nucleus where I can build out. And I'm not saying alienate anybody. Don't send us any emails. I'm not splash
No,
commenting.
that's not it at all. But
Yeah,
but
but
we
somebody
have
to spin your words around, girl. We in the
yeah,
streets, they'll spin it. So I just need to make sure I cover that because
we,
we
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 have
are
to
human beings.
triage. We have to triage what's hurting right now.
Yeah,
What needs the most immediate attention and these are the things that need the most immediate attention. And these are the things that we can do because we can't look to the outside community.
correct. And that's all I'm saying. They're trying to burn books. They're banning books. So if you have access to books that we know that there's going to be in the burn center somewhere, somebody's going to be burning them up, grab those books, post them somewhere, take pages, do whatever we need to do so we won't, it's our story. When we
Yeah.
have our elders, take time to start listening to the history that's real, that's in life right now. People still have their elders that's 80, 90, 100 years old. That's such a blessing. Sit down and start talking to them, record the conversations, start collecting live stories about what happened in our communities. And so we can pass that on,
Yes.
because the next generation, we're losing out. We're losing out. So we have to be the change we want to see. Like those
Yeah.
young ladies, that's a motivator right there. Just go ahead and start doing it. Teach your
Hmm.
kids, have those conversations, pull away from social media after you watch Conversations with Karen the Cat.
Yeah.
pull away, pull away from social media, and then talk to your family. True
Yep.
story, and I'm gonna say this because I know we cutting it. There is a person who, a white family, he had a bunch of kids. Every day when he came home from his management job, he sat down and he talked business with his family at the dinner table. All of his white kids became CEOs of
Mm.
companies. I remember this story years ago. So I tried to have the same type of mentality with my household.
Okay.
Take a time and talk about business, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now when your kids get older, they'll know what the tick marks are at the bottom of the screen that's doing all the stock codes because you talked to
Yes.
them about that. They'll know what Nasdaq is. They will know what S&P 5. They'll know all of this. What is GDP? What is that? Right? So you have to start having those conversations early. And it really does make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't been taught that. So then we don't teach it. And now we're 10 generations down and we have no generational wealth on top of redlining, discrimination, profiling, lender, what is it? Lender profiling, whatever it was called, when they were like targeting Black people and not giving them their fair rate. On
Mm-hmm.
top of all of this discriminatory stuff, we still don't have the information. So it keeps us lower and lower. It's like playing Monopoly and you never get all your money to play the game to even get on the board. So these are the things that we can do at home right now. Start having a conversation. And this is the biggest thing too. It's okay if you don't know what you don't know. Don't let that paralyze you and stop you.
Because
It's okay. 'Cause I didn't
mm,
know. You
and
understand?
there's so many resources, free
Girl,
resources out there to get you to where you need to be and to get you the information that you need. I guarantee you that, and you don't even have, if you don't own a computer, you own this. This is your computer. If you don't know how to do something,
and,
Google is free.
and look, and if you don't, I'm looking for my library card. And if you don't
Yes.
have a phone, you could get a
Get to
free
the
library card.
library card.
And
Yes.
they have every access in the library card.
Yes.
So you're right, sis.
That so you can find it out. Other things that I want us to do, and then I'm going to wrap this up. I need
Mm-hmm.
us to prioritize our mental health. We need to address generational trauma. We need to address our stress. We need to address whatever our mental health concerns are, right? That's what we need to do differently in this period of our life. This is what we need to
Yes.
do. It,
Yes.
I ain't hitting at nobody, but we need to prioritize mental health during this
Amen.
season and
Amen.
going forward, right? Because we haven't always done that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to
And
do that.
no
And
more
we
taboo. No more
no
taboo.
more taboo.
Talk about it.
And we need local civic engagement.
Oh,
Yes, mess is happening in the White House, but I need you to know what's going on in your county. If you live in a municipality, I need you to know what's going on in your city and under the gold dome at your state. Follow
mm-hmm.
the legislation, right?
Yep. Yep.
I need you to get involved. You don't have to run for office. Go to a meeting every now and again and see what
Mm-hmm.
they're passing. If you can't make it to meetings, because they're either in the
Life
morning,
happens.
they're either in the morning or they're going to be in the evening, and you
Yep.
might be working or going to and from work. And if you can't get on your computer or on your phone, you can get on your phone and see the meetings and get the
Mm-hmm.
agendas to see
Yep.
what's going on, what the zoning is going on. And then lastly, I need us to consume some bit of information that is not social media to get our news. If that
Mm-hmm.
means that you subscribe to the Black Star Network, which is Roland
Yep.
Martin's network, or
Yes. And
some trustworthy media outlet.
mm-hmm.
Now there
Mm-hmm.
is um Don Lemon is over on YouTube now and he's on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So and let me tell you,
I mean, Carl Nelson. Go ahead.
Don Lemon is over on TikTok and YouTube. For those of you who don't have TikTok on your phone, that's fine. But he's on YouTube and he's doing news unfiltered,
Yep.
unedited, telling it like it is.
Yep.
But he's also still connected to journalists and he's getting that information. So I need you to get the news because so many of us um
I was just listening to that. They don't listen. They don't. People don't listen to anything other than social media.
they don't
And,
listen to, so
yeah.
I need for you to get like credible news sources.
Correct.
from journalists. I
That is
need
right.
I need for us to do this. And then
Read the newspaper. They're online. Read you
yeah,
5 newspapers a day, and read globally. The world is a big
yes,
place. Do not just read in your local neighborhoods, because when you read globally, you can get an idea of what's coming to impact your community. Not only that, you also can look at solutions, because there are
yes,
countries that are doing it right.
yeah. Ain't nothing new. Ain't, as my father would say, ain't nothing new under the sun but the
Ain't nothing new
sun.
under the sun, girl. All the elders said that, honey. Ain't nothing new under the
No,
sun. You just keep that. They say keep living. You will catch
keep
it.
living, right? And then secondly, and then lastly, not secondly, but lastly, I need for Black folks to connect
Mm,
in real life
mhm.
outside of the digital world. I
Correct.
need you to get involved in some civic organizations.
Yes.
If you're not in a sorority or a fraternity, if you're not in the Masons, the Links, or something like that, if you're not connected to a church or some other religious organization, I need you to be involved in some civic organization,
Mhm.
NAACP, the Urban League, whatever that, whatever the community organization,
Nonprofits.
nonprofits that
Nonprofits.
are in your community. Get
Mhm.
involved because
Meals
this
on
is
Wheels.
this is how you build community, and this is how you help to organize. Find like-minded people.
Mhm.
Find like-minded people.
Yep.
Again, find like-minded people. It's
Mhm.
you know, and these are all just some things that we have thought of, Kat and I. And we're not recreating nothing. We're not
Mm-mm.
recreating nothing.
Mm.
We're just
Nope.
telling you what we've learned from
We are
talking to
sharing
other
with you
folks.
what
So
we talk. That's right. Being in these
exactly.
streets.
Being
Being in
in
these
these
streets.
streets. So anything that we've talked about ain't nothing new. Ain't nothing new. And
Mm-mm.
it's all been done before. We
Yep.
know how to survive as a people because we've done it for over
Mm,
400 years in this
mm,
country. We've
mm.
done it.
That they
Now,
ref. Mhm.
what I want you to do is to not just survive, but to thrive.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
just survive, not just get by,
Mhm.
but be wealthy. I don't necessarily mean wealthy with your money, but wealthy in your health, wealthy
Mhm.
in your spirit, wealthy
Mhm.
with your time and generous with your time. I want each of us
Mhm.
to do well and to thrive, not just be getting by, just
Yep.
I want to see everybody win.
And when you thrive, you have so much joy and peace, and
Mm,
you will be so happy, and everything else will just melt away.
yes,
There's
Lord.
no need for you to struggle. There's no need. One, we know who's in control.
Mm,
And then two, God don't give you nothing you can't handle. And lastly, you got family, whether they blood or not. And that's what you were saying about connect. You got people out here, you ain't got to struggle by yourself. It's
yes.
so many of us in the same boat. There's nothing new under the sun. And you know what that means? That means that somebody else is doing what you have has
Yep.
done, what you're trying to do. And there are other people that's doing it at the same time you're doing it. So connect, speak up. When we halt, here's my metaphor. Anybody who drinks pop, you know when you shake it up, you get ready to open it, it just explodes everywhere, right? Whether it's champagne or you shake up pop, it explodes everywhere. When we're angry and we have mental issues and we don't talk about it, we don't expose ourselves to other people, we're like that pop. We explode and we go everywhere.
Mm,
The way that you don't explode that pop, you slowly loosen the top up a little bit at a time, let the carbonation
valve
come,
release.
let it release. What we need to do is go to therapy, anger management, talk about our past trauma so that we don't just explode. We can go into safe spaces with licensed professionals that would allow us to have those moments where we could talk about the pain. And then eventually, as you go through your journey, your pain will become your purpose. and you
Mm.
will wind up helping other people, and it in turn will be helping you.
Yes.
And that's why we are forever connected. We are as one. We are human, the human race. So
Mm-hmm.
let's love on yourself and love on somebody else, because this is not just the movement of just being peace, it's the movement for humanity so that we can take care of one another. All right. So I'm gonna leave that with that.
Yes.
Love yourself, love on somebody else, because you're not alone. And that's all
Mm-mm.
I can say. You are not alone. You are not alone. In fact, I ask everybody to challenge, drop us a line. We doing these podcasts, we doing it from our heart. It's a ministry to us. We would love to hear from you guys. Send us emails, conversations with Karen the Cat at gmail.com. You can find all our contacts on our website, karenthecat.com. And on these videos, comment, let
Comment.
us know. You let us know, are we doing good? Can you relate to what we're talking about? Do you and your family sit down and talk about financial planning? What are some things that you guys are doing for this movement, for this season that we're in? What are some things that you're doing? Let us know. We would love to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. As
Mhm.
always, we want to thank you for joining us on this episode of Conversations with Karen and Kat.
Well, we are impacting the world one conversation at a time.